right, guys. So I've been doing this for the past 5 years consistently. So these are the 6 lessons I learned freelancing, which made me rich. And to be honest, like this is actually one of the best ways of getting started, especially if you're trying to earn money and gain your time back and just like live a good life, pretty much, to make $10,000 a month. This is actually the way I would suggest. And just for record, I started here in March 2020 and I was able to achieve around $10,000 a month within the first 3 months. And then eventually I hit it much more than that eventually. But just wanted to share you my lessons, because it was not all good all the time. As you can see here, we have some months that were good and then not so good and then better and whatnot. So I'm going to share you quite a few of my lessons. And this will help you a lot understand like my thought process and how I was able to achieve this. And it might help you as well so you can implement it. So the very first thing is that to make money freelancing, it's all about selling, because this is like a lot of people get it wrong and they try to be selling something that they feel they're good at it. Your goal here is not to be an expert on another skill. And what is another skill? I don't know. Like, for example, your goal is not to be an expert, building either websites or being a social media marketer and whatnot. Your only goal and the main skill you must have is knowing how to sell. You want to become pretty much like Jordan Belfort and whatnot. And in order to become good at selling, it's actually very simple. I learned everything through YouTube, and I was like following a lot Russell Brunson because he's who I believe one of the best ones at selling and creating irresistible offers. Because at the end of the day, when freelancing, like it's all about making the customer or the client envision themselves with the idea of their end result. So you need to be very good at selling, creating offers, reducing buyer's remorse, creating like a good pricing, adding a lot of value. So this is something you must do. So that's the very first thing, because sometimes we believe, especially when starting out, like, oh, I need to become an expert on video editing or anything so people buy from me. Like that's not your job. Your job is to actually sell. You have to sell. You have to sell it better than the competition, because the only reason why I was very good at this, it was because I was good at selling. It took me less than 12 months to become the number one on the Fiverr freelancing platform, and it was because I was very good at selling. The competition on Fiverr is very whack, so it was super easy to actually just position my service in such a way that clients were more inclined to purchase from me. Despite the fact that most clients are from the top tier countries and I'm from Mexico, like my only highest competitor was a girl from the US, and I believe it was just because it was from the US. You know what I'm saying? I was still beating her, but she was like very, he was toe to toe against me. So that's the thing. But so what I learned pretty much is that it's all about selling. It's not about anything else. So you need to be focusing on that. And it's very simple. Just go to youtube.com, start like learning these while you're like, instead of watching Netflix and whatnot, just like use your time wisely and just learn sales. It helps you with everything, because it's not about just selling freelancing. It helps you with everything, whether if you have an e-commerce stores, if you want to sell someone an idea, if you want to sell an investor on your idea, if you want to, it's all, life is about selling, relationship and everything. Like you have to sell. It shows me like this is something that I really did change my life. I didn't understood this until years afterwards, when I was like evaluating what I was like good at, and it was like, yeah, I'm just good at selling, because my service was pretty much e-commerce services, building websites, social media marketing, video editing and whatnot. But actually the reason why I was making money was because I was good at selling. I may be a 4 to 5 out of 10 in building websites or social media marketing, but I was like an 8 or 9 out of 10 selling my service. You know what I'm saying? I don't say 10 out of 10 because like, there's always room for growth. I believe so, but I was very good at selling. So that's pretty much the very first lessons, and you should keep this in consideration. So yeah, I mean, it's the most important thing basically. Now the second thing is that you must sell something that people is already purchasing from other people. Whether it's a service or a product. In this case, a service, because you're freelancing, you will get a higher chance of making money if you follow the wave. Because a lot of people, again, circling back to the lesson one, they try to be selling something they feel they're good at. But if people are not purchasing from your expertise, like odds of you making money is slim to none. You know what I'm saying? So in order for you to make money, was because I was selling something that was on demand. E-commerce, like, it's been on demand for a long time, so it was pretty much a no-brainer. And it's very easy to actually understand what is on demand. So as you can see, I don't know, I don't have any images, but well, like, for example, let's say you're good at AI images. If you go here to fiverr.com, it's very easy to actually see which categories, which services are on demand. But if you go here, you want to be pretty much selecting something that people is already purchasing from other people. So as you can see here, they have quite a few reviews, but if you go here, you can check this, and yeah, they might be pretty much having like a one ordering queue and whatnot. But you want to go then to, I don't know, social media marketing. It's like the best example I always use, right? So if you go here to social media marketing, you can see this girl has like a lot of orders, so 73 orders in queue, check their prices, so you can see that there's a lot of demand in here. You know what I'm saying? So it's very easy to actually be selling something on demand, and guess what, you don't have to be an expert at it. You don't have to be an expert, because I was telling you before, it's all about selling. You just need to be good at selling. You will figure out that later, and I'm going to explain to you how. But that's pretty much the lesson, because you don't want to be good just at offering, like, even if you're like extremely good at social media marketing, like, that's not your job, because that will be pretty much like consuming most of your time, which I believe that's lesson number three. Well, yes, it's pretty much here. Like, lesson three, you can make a lot of money yourself, but if you want to live better, you should hire someone. So, just for the record, like, all of this is just pure profits, and I was doing it all myself. So, you can definitely do it by yourself. And, I was pretty much learning this through YouTube. Like, everything you learn, like, YouTube University is the best thing in the world, because you can learn everything, right? But it's actually, like, you need to be eventually hiring someone else, because at the end of the day, I was working like a robot. I was working with 100 clients, 200 clients a month. And it's good because you're making a lot of money, right? But eventually you can start, like, like, you don't start living. At the end of the day, I was making a lot of money, but I couldn't enjoy it. So it was just like having another job, just like with a higher pay. But I remember one day before I crashed. And what I mean, I crashed in income, was because I was in my backyard, and I was like thinking, like, wow, I'm making a lot amount of money. Like, I can do pretty much anything I want, relatively speaking, right? But I was like, I can do anything I want, but I don't have the time for it, because I was always like answering clients and doing all these services and whatnot. So it was like extremely frustrating. So it's always good to hire someone, but first you can start by yourself. You don't need to have any team or anything, but eventually it's always good to hire someone else, because you can get like a little bit greedy. For me, it was hard because I mean, I was making 100% profit margins, right? So I didn't want it to delegate it. You know what I'm saying? It was hard for me. I don't know, like, scarcity mindset. Don't have scarcity mindset. The worst thing in the world. So don't have scarcity mindset. So I was like always holding back, because of that I crashed. I didn't have like the proper team. So yeah, it's pretty much the lesson number three. And you can make a lot of money yourself. I would encourage you to start by yourself and eventually hire people. You can also hire people right off the bat, so you don't have to have any expertise. Because let's say you want to sell social media marketing services, and you're very good at selling. You're really good at selling the service and whatnot, but you don't know how to deliver it, right? It's very easy. You can just hire someone else on Fiverr, even, and just like keep the difference. I'm not gonna go in depth, but it's like extremely easy. Or just hire someone else from a country that it's like a lower wages and whatnot, and just keep the difference. It's actually super simple, because your job here is to sell. Your job here is to first make money. You don't want to spend hours and hours and hours in becoming like an expert. No, like, even you can do it as you go, as you start getting clients, you start researching on YouTube and whatnot. It's like good hustle. It's always a good hustle. So just telling you this because of my experience. Like, I'm telling you, like, I've been doing this for the past 5 years, and that was a crazy thing. So it makes a huge difference when you start hiring people. And I did it because of I was forced to do. You know what I'm saying? Because the business just outgrew me, and I crashed. So I crashed, meaning like I dropped in income, because uh, I messed up. So the lesson number four is pretty much like, it can get, actually, it's like freelancing can get very stressful if you don't manage your time and focus on getting many clients only. Why I'm telling you this, because back in the day, I was just focused on getting as many clients as I can, because you get addicted to the money. You get addicted because, like, it's just like a dopamine here. Like, another client, it's like more money, more money. So you get like a very, very excited about it, but like, you just consume all your time, so it can be very, very stressful. Like, sometimes, like, people market as even myself, like, I market like freelancing as something that will give you freedom and whatnot. And don't get me wrong, it gives you like a respectable amount of freedom because of the money, right? But if you don't manage your time properly, and you do it all yourself, and you just focus on getting many clients, it can be super stressful, because it gets to the point, like, if you do things properly, if you know how to sell, and if you do things properly, like, you're making money. Like, I was just loaded with clients, and I'm telling you, like, it was one month, like my biggest month, I was working with 200 clients. Like, I was crazy, like, I was all day, every day, like, on the computer, and all the time, like, responding to messages and whatnot, and I'm trying to make sure, like, just putting out the fires in and out. So it was super stressful. Of course, I was blessed because I was making a lot of money, but it was super stressful. It can get bad into your mental health. So it's always good to just, like, sometimes do a little bit of a step back, and focus on managing your time in a proper way. How you can achieve it by hiring people and just building better systems. It's quite simple. I've done this, but you need to know how to do it, right? So this is like a big lesson that you should be, like, always taking in consideration, especially when starting out, because, like, you can make a lot of money. Like I'm telling you, you can make a lot of money. It's life changing money. Like don't get me wrong, it's life changing money. But you want to live also a good life. You just want to make like a lot of money. That's the thing. Like a lot of people like just say like, yeah, I'm a zillionaire and whatnot. Like I wouldn't like to have like I didn't optimize to make as much money as I want. I just wanted to have like enough freedom. So when I started to make a lot of money and then I knew that my freedom was decreasing, I was like, this is not what I want. And ultimately you eventually realize that you don't need that much money to live a good life. So it really depends on each person's ambitions, but to make $10,000 a month freelancing, it's actually very, very achievable. And I'm telling you, like, it will pretty much give you one of the best lifestyles you can ever have. Eventually, past that, it becomes more stressful, but $10,000 a month by yourself, super achievable, working quite a few hours a day, and just live a crazy, awesome life. Like I'm telling you. And lesson number 5, here we have, you should spend your money. This is like a big lesson. This is one of the biggest lessons. You should spend your money and spend it in things that makes you richer in life, experiences and relationships and personal growth. That's something very important because for the longest time, I didn't spend any money. I was stuck into this idea of, oh no, I need to save more, save more. I mean, first of all, because I come from a scarcity background, so I was always trying to save more just in case of a rainy day and whatnot. Like nobody teach me abundance, especially when you come from a place where there's a scarcity. I'm from a third world country. I'm from Mexico, so like stuff, bad stuff can happen, and I've seen it like personal. So I was very scarce regarding that. But guess what? Like, and then I was starting thinking like, oh no, no, but my passive income should be like, in order to be rich, my passive income should surpass my active income. So I was just saving and all that stuff. Guess what? I lost everything. I lost everything. My 2 years of work lost, gone. And I'm not gonna go into details, but it was like super terrible. I was making like, look, I was making like a lot of money all over here and whatnot. Just gone, just gone. And guess what? I enjoyed zero, nothing changing my life. I was making a lot of money, nothing changing my life. I was living the same lifestyle. Perhaps I was spending maybe 200, 100, $200 a month because I was still living with my parents and everything. So I didn't spend it at all and nothing changed. I just lost it. So eventually my life started to change once I started traveling. You know what I'm saying? I started traveling, I started meeting cool people. I started to just like invest it in things that will help me grow much quicker. You know what I'm saying? So now, right now I'm here in Bali with living with a bunch of billionaires, millionaires, not billionaires, millionaires, very successful friends and whatnot, and just like my life experience have increased a lot. Like it's just like it's just enormous, like the amount of growth I've experienced in the past couple of years ever since I started spending my money. It's being frugal, just like trying to save all the time is it's not good. Of course, you should always be trying to save more than you spend, right? You don't want to be making $10,000 a month and live to $10,000 a month. No, that's not the case. You know what I'm saying? If you're making like $10,000 a month, maybe like spending like 3 to 5K a month lifestyle, that's good. Because at the end of the day, like there should be a balance in between living and also saving. You don't want to, you can get broke like right off the back. Like if like in business, I forgot about this, but in business, like this is another lesson. Like things always happen. Like it's gonna be like a bonus one, 5 point. Let's put it like lesson 5.1 because this is a good one. I just think about it. Lesson 5.1, things eventually go wrong. It really doesn't matter which type of business you are. Things, you have to be pretty much saving money and everything because things go wrong. It doesn't matter. It could be like an update, an algorithm, anything. There's things that are outside your control. Like maybe your employee died or something. Like you never know. You broke your hand. You cannot do stuff. Like things go wrong all the time. So you always need to be making sure you have your nest egg and just like save some money and whatnot because things go south and you need to be like pretty much sharp in order to take that as an advantage because a lot of people when things go south, for example here, like I was making a lot of money, right, and then like I had like this huge drop, like it plays in your psyche, and you get like used to making a lot of money and then you're not making money and then you live stressed and everything and just wonder like, oh, but what if I never come back to make a lot of money and stuff, like it just, you things go wrong, like things go wrong sometimes, many times out of your control. So you need to be like very sharp in regarding like controlling your mind and making sure that you perceive everything as an opportunity, because I was working too much, and because of this drop, that was what forced me, because that's what I'm saying, like the crash, this is a huge crash. um that's what pretty much forced me to start hiring people, because until then I was just a freelancer. But even then, like I was like, okay, this is actually the thing that I needed in order to grow, and it's only when you see in retrospect, when you see like, oh, okay, this is like actually like it was a blessing in disguise, right? Because now I'm living better, now I have much more time, now I can enjoy, now I can teach this, but it wasn't because of those things that were perceived as negative in that time that now I can perceive it as positive, and it was like a blessing. It is not, guys, right? So yeah, things always go wrong. It really doesn't matter what you do, things will go wrong. It, like I'm telling you, like when I was doing e-commerce and everything, like I was making money, I was happy, I was making money, everything was good, and eventually Facebook decided to say like, "Oh, I'm gonna drop the score." There was like a score or something like that, and for pages, and if you drop about below a threshold, like you're cooked, and I got cooked. You know what I'm saying? So things like that happen to everybody in e-commerce, like payment processors, like somebody did a chargeback, stuff happens. So you just have to be sharp and just perceive them as positive. So yeah, but just keep in mind that things will always go wrong. It really doesn't matter how good are you trying, like things go wrong, you need to be sharp and perceive it as positive always. But yeah, like it's good, like living a good lifestyle and everything. Now I'm reaching experiences. Not only money, like money was not always my priority. Like I never prioritized making a lot of money. Nowadays I'm prioritizing more the bucket of making more money, but I was more focused back in the day just having enough money so I can travel, I can meet cool people, and like have good life experiences, and it's very fulfilling. Like it's very, very fulfilling, so it's worth it, but you have to spend the money. So it's always good. Definitely recommend it that you do it. And first of all, you need to learn a skill, and you need to build momentum. You need to make sure that you're actually making money. It's not hard, really. It's not hard once you know how to sell. Because here's what happened. Let's go back real quick. Once you understand how to sell, you become like a Jordan Belfort and whatnot. Like you don't want to be Jordan Belfort. He was like a little bit of a trashy guy in the movie and whatnot, but he was very good at selling, right? But once you have like are good at selling, like your confidence increase because you can feel like you can pretty much sell water to the ocean, like something like that, like you just know you're very good, and it's like, yeah, it's a no-brainer because it doesn't matter what I do, I can sell it, and if you can sell it, you will earn money. So it's like it gives you like a huge boost of confidence, and you can pretty much sell anything. You can sell your way up to a better job. You don't want to have a job, right? But into a better position, into better friends, into better relationships. You can sell your way to anything. So that's what I'm saying. Like it's super important, the selling side of things. But let's go to the last one, which is the lesson number 6. So I hope you stick to the end. So lesson number 6 is prioritize buyer satisfaction or client satisfaction, because we tend to get greedy and focus on just closing more clients. And it's always good to step back in order to achieve consistency. This will give you peace of mind and a sustainable business, because this stuff is not sustainable. Having drops, it's not sustainable. So you don't want to have that. You don't want to. You want sustainability, because that's what gives you actually the peace of mind. Like for example, the best thing in the world is like having, I would suggest like having like 6-figure net profit in the bank, and then having a consistently monthly revenue of, I don't know, 5 to 10 grand a month, and you will live a very, very good lifestyle. Because once you have a nest egg, you can be pretty much spending from your active income. And of course the idea is to earn more money in order for you to have like more of a nest egg, and of course making smart investments and whatnot. But you have to prioritize buyer satisfaction, because I wasn't. I was just very good at selling. That's why I had like huge drops, because I was like, yeah, yeah, sell, 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 but my service delivery was shit, right? So I was like, sell, 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 and I was like, yeah, 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 sell, 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 and then I dropped, and then I was like, instead of getting better at service delivery, I was like, nah, again, like sell, 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 and no, it's not good. It's just like play bad in your psyche, and that's why it took me like 5 years to now realize like I'm much more mature now. I understand business, because it's a very big difference in between earning money and running a business. Like running a business is completely different ballgame. Like I respect much more a person who's been in business for the past 5 years or 10 years making money consistently than a guy who's just been like 18 months or 1 year and make like a shit ton of money on crypto or on a trade or drop shipping even. And yeah, because they don't build any skills. You can, it's making money is just like a matter of clicking quite a few buttons, and it's like also based on opportunities and odds and whatnot. So some people can get rich very quickly, but it's the person who's been sustainable that understand how to treat people, how to actually run a business, how to actually manage adversities. You know what I'm saying? Because I've seen, like I'm telling you, I've seen a lot of people come and go. You know what I'm saying? I used to see this guy who's making like a lot of money, and 6 months afterwards, like nowhere to be found. There's a lot of people who make a lot of money, increase their lifestyle, and then 6 months, like as I was telling you here in 5.1, like things go wrong, and they never manage to get back to it, back on track. And yeah, so sustainability, it's key. And in order to achieve sustainability, you need to prioritize buyer satisfaction. Like at the end of the day, it took me a while to realize that you get addicted to just selling. And I said, like, you know what, this is not good. I'm getting like a lot of emotions up and down, and it was not feeling good. So I said, like, you know what, I'm gonna step back, and I'm gonna start like hiring people in such a way that we can deliver a very, very good service. And once you do that, you see, like, it's pretty much a no-brainer, because you have your clients happy, you always take care of them and everything, you're very straightforward, and that's how you can build a good business. You know what I'm saying? you develop skills. So you also like when working with someone, like for example, if you're paying someone to pay for something, like you need to understand what is their track record, and like in order to see whether if it's a good investment and whatnot, because like that's what I always think. Like I always see the results they have, and also how long have they been in business, because there are a lot of people, like let's say they become successful and they've been like teaching this despite the fact that they're just being like successful for 6 months, 8 months, and they're like, yeah, I'm gonna teach you this, and like, yeah, they're just focusing on the money. And I'm telling you from experience, I was just focusing once on just like making more sales, more money, and everything. It's not good. It's not sustainable. It's not a good life. I feel much more at peace when I can take care of my clients and they're happy with the value I provide, and just making good money, and that's much more fulfilling, and just I can still enjoy my life. I live a very good lifestyle. So yeah, like in order to achieve this, like I'm telling you, because I'm just saving you a shit ton of time. Okay, so it's all about sustainability. So you have to take care of various satisfaction. So yeah, that's pretty much the way it is. And of course, you can make like a lot of money. You can still make a lot of money. I have like a big crash that we have here in 2022, which is like make all again, like like I was making no money, and then a lot of money. You see all these crashes, so then we go back up. So that's the way it works. That's the way business works. Took me years to realize. I didn't understand what I was doing wrong and whatnot. So I'm telling you from experience. But yeah, it's very achievable, and it's all about it's all profit margins. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, it's like a very good money to live in, and anybody can achieve it, because I'm not special. I'm from Mexico, so I don't speak English. Like Spanish is my first language. I don't speak English. I didn't grow with wealth and whatnot. Like I'm telling you, as you can see here, I started from zero. Zero. This is zero, 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 and then boom, boom, boom. Like that's a lot of money. So why? Because I was selling something in demand and also on demand, and I was very good at selling. So anybody can achieve this. And yeah, so if you want to learn this, like you can do it by yourself. You can just start freelancing on Fiverr. I was just starting freelancing on Fiverr. That's my expertise. That's how I achieve it. That's why I'm like confident on teaching this. If you want to work with me, you can just apply on the link below. There should be a link below. If there's not a link below, it's because I already closed them, because I work with very specific people. Because at the end of the day, like it's not a cheap service I'm providing, but I'm very very confident in the amount of value I can provide. And it's not just about just the value. You know what I'm saying? Because anything I teach is pretty much applicable to any sort of business endeavor. Of course, like the whole idea is to make freelancing, but the whole goal here is to make $0 to $10,000 a month. I mean, yeah, $0 to $10,000, but you can make it a month or recurring freelancing. So if you want to work with me and you want to learn more like about in depth, because of course, like it goes much more in depth, and like my thought process, your adversities, and how to do it properly and cater towards your specific job, not job, like towards your specific like situation. Yeah, I can definitely help you with it. But yeah, it's just what it is. Otherwise, just like you can do it for free. Like I started for free. You don't have to pay me. You don't have to pay anyone. But of course, like the whole idea, like why people sell stuff, it's because like it pretty much reduces all the time in the world. You know what I'm saying? Like that's why it's always good, like paying someone who has like a lot of expertise and knowledge. Because like instead of you trying back and forth, back and forth, back and forth for like years, it can happen like year, 2 years, like and nothing happens. You know what I'm saying? Like at the end of the day, like the most finite resource is like time. So the whole idea here is that you're saving time when you pay someone who actually knows what they're talking about and they have the results. Like yeah, that's when it's worth paying. That's what I did in the past, and it always like it comes with dividends. So yeah, at the end of the day, you want to work with me, you can check it up. If it's not available, then it's not available. But you can connect. You can send message me on Instagram. You can just comment below if you want to know more about a specific thing and about anything regarding freelancing success in this field. Just feel free to tell me. And yeah, I hope this video helped, and see you on the next one.